The season is on the line for our San Francisco Giants as we currently trail the Braves 3-0 in the NLCS, and we have to win Game 4 today. Otherwise, the dream is over, and it's back to the drawing board. So last episode, we played Games 2 and 3, a pair of close losses, dropping the second game 4-3 and the third game 5-3. And I feel like the big story through the entire NLCS isn't really the Braves beating us, but more so us beating ourselves. Pause. So we lost Game 2 5-4. I thought Logan Webb pitched pretty well. The bullpen did fine, minus the 2-run homer led up in the 8th by Jojo Romero. I thought the offense was fine too, but we lost this game because of the defense, specifically in the 5th inning. With 2 outs, Jung-Hoo Lee misplays a fly ball off the bat of Jose Azocar, leading to a double. Michael Harris then drives him in with a double. Harris then steals third. Blake Sabol misses the throw, and he's able to score. That's the difference of 2 runs, which is the difference of the entire game. Then in Game 3, we lost 5-3. It certainly didn't help allowing 4 home runs, and for the Braves, they did not get a lot of base runners, but they really won from the long ball. However, I think who we really need to blame is the offense. We had no shortage of base runners. 9 hits, 6 walks. That's a lot. That's pretty good. But the situational hitting was completely abysmal. We left 13 runners on base, and that doesn't even account for double plays, which we had at least 2 or 3 of. We didn't score until the 7th, and I'll give us credit. We rallied late, scoring in each of the last 3 innings. But ultimately, that was not enough. We cannot leave guys on base. That's been this team's Achilles heel since episode 1. We're over 60 episodes in, and it hasn't gotten better. I thought at the end of this season it was, but that clearly has not been the case. And now going into Game 4, the season's on the line. We've lost in different ways in this series. Remember in Game 1, it was the struggles, especially with the starting pitching with Sandy Alcantara before he was taken out early due to the rain delay. And now we've got a decision on who we're going to start in Game 4. With Sandy only throwing just barely 2+ innings in Game 1, he's ready to go today. Aaron Savale is an option as well. He has not pitched at all in the postseason, but it would make a lot of sense to slot him here. We could go with a bullpen game as well. Plenty of options, and whatever we choose, but we have to get it right because our season's on the line. And as you'll notice, warming up in the San Francisco bullpen is Sandy Alcantara. I think he's our best starting pitcher, and I trust handing the season essentially into his right arm. Remember in Game 2 of the NLCS against Cincinnati, he had a no-hitter go nearly 7 innings. So we know he's very capable. He just really never got on the right foot against Atlanta and was taken out early due to the weather. But we certainly believe in him, and well, we're going to need him to show up. Otherwise, we will be watching the World Series in Cancun, Mexico. So let's see if Sandy Alcantara can keep the San Francisco Giants season alive. This is not a good start. Christian Arroyo with 1 away. Rips it into the gap. That'll go into Triple's alley, and it'll lead to a double. Arroyo had a pair of hits in his 2 at-bats against Sandy back in Game 1, and he's picking up right where he left off. Atlanta with a runner in scoring position, and that'll bring up Ronald Acuna, who I feel like has been overall kind of disappointing in this series. He did homer in the last game, but in general, he's been somewhat quiet as he strikes out. That'll bring up Austin Riley, who's gone deep 3 times in his last 5 at-bats, and he's not done. This one will stay in the ballpark, but it rolls to the wall and left. Run scores. The throw from Hackman is offline. Not that it really matters. And the Braves start Game 1 on the board. They already lead it 1-0. Not a good start for Sandy Alcantara trying to set the tone here. Oneil Cruz on the 1-2. Rips it into right. This ball will go off the wall. It's 2-0 Atlanta. Cruz heads for third. He's safe with a triple. So the Braves are mashing the ball early in this game. 3 extra base hits in just the first inning for Atlanta. And they have another runner 90 feet away from home for Sean Murphy, who's fishing on the low and outside slider. But not a good start for Sandy Alcantara with the season on the line. He lets up 2 early runs and 3 hits. So already some early run support for Atlanta. And we'll see if their early pitching will look like what they got out of Game 3, not letting up any runs through the first 6 innings. And it'll be Michael King, who has not pitched in the postseason. It's kind of odd because he won the Cy Young this year. Seems a little bit strange for Atlanta not to use him, but They have not lost a playoff game yet. They're 6-0. So I guess you can't really fault the process if it's working. Ian Happ singles into right, and the Giants get themselves a base runner. I know this looks like a rough start, but we're only in the bottom of the first inning. We have plenty of time. Just stack some base runners, and you can put yourselves back into the game. That'll bring up J.P. Crawford, moving up to the 3 slot today, and this one is hit well. Into right center field, and this ball is gone! San Francisco quickly ties it at 2. J.P. Crawford with a 420-foot home run into right center field. Triples Alley is usually undefeated, but it gets handed an L from J.P. Crawford. Atlanta gets 2 in the top half of the first, but the Giants respond with 2 in the bottom half, and this stadium is roaring. You would not think this team is down 3-0. Crawford with a missile. Wasn't hit overly high, but he hit it so hard it just kept chugging along. 111 off the bat. We made a few big switches to the lineup. We're putting the hot hands earlier in the lineup. We're down 3-0. What's there to lose? Blake Sabol up the middle. Another base hit. So after Atlanta got 3 early hits in the first inning, the Giants get 3 of their own. Michael King looks like he hasn't pitched in about 3 weeks. That's because he hasn't pitched in about 3 weeks. As Murakami puts it on the ground, that should wrap up the inning. But quite the start. The Braves score 2, and the Giants get 2 right back with a homer by J.P. Crawford. Already his 4th of the postseason in just 5+ games. And that'll bring us into the second. So the Giants are going to give Sandy some runs, and he has a chance to redeem himself and respond. Well, that's not a great start, though. Jared Kelenic singles into left. Little Oppo Taco. And so he starts the inning aboard. That'll bring up the catcher, Tyler Stevenson, and he goes down on the fastball. If there's one thing that Sandy has done well today, it's the swing and miss stuff. 3 punch-outs already. Jose Azocar launches it into left center. This ball is gone. Rogers could only watch it fly. And the Braves are right back up by 2. Atlanta and the Giants trading blows, and Atlanta keeps it moving. Jose Azocar with his first home run of the postseason, and the momentum that the Giants got off of the home run by Crawford has evaporated. The disastrous start for Sandy Alcantara continues. Through his first trip down the lineup, he lets up 5 hits and 4 runs, and it'll be his only trip through the lineup as he is getting yanked. If this was a regular season game, we'd probably keep him in, try to see if it can get better. But it's the postseason. We're down 3-0. Our season's on the line. Desperate times call for desperate measures, and we've got to throw stuff at the wall and hope it sticks. Aaron Savale has not been needed here in the postseason, and now we need him to save this season. Savale has never come out of the bullpen for us. Started in 26 games this year. Was a lot worse than last year, but he pitched well in September, and I'm hoping that hot streak, along with 3 weeks of rest, will do him well as Michael Harris rips it into left for another Atlanta hit, and he's going to turn that for a double. So the base hits just continue to pile on. Already 6 for Atlanta. It felt like in the NLDS against the Reds, they didn't get 6 hits in the entire series. As Christian Arroyo goes down on the slider for the second out of the inning. Ronald Acuna now goes down looking on the sinker. So Savale gets through the rest of the inning unharmed. But the Braves get 2 more with the homer by Jose Azocar, yanking Sandy Alcantara out of the game after just an inning and a third. But hey, the trend of this game has been one team scores 2, then the other team does. Hopefully the trend continues for another half inning as we look to get this momentum back. With 2 away, it's Tommy Rogers. He's struggled here in the postseason, but he homered in the last game, and he sends this one into the gap, likely for a double. Just the guy we want on base. The fastest man in Major League Baseball in scoring position with a double, as that one goes 104 off the bat. And now we're going to need Jun-Hoo Lee to drive him in. A 1-run deficit is a whole lot cleaner to come back from than a 2-run deficit. 2-2, got him looking on the circle change. That pitch looked low and outside, but Lee does not get the call. And Michael King gets out of the inning. The dugout clearly frustrated. Munetaka Murakami has no idea what the umpire is thinking. That'll bring us into the third. 3-1 for Riley. That one is down over to third. What a play at the hot corner by Munetaka Murakami. for the first out of the inning, showing off the leather. Murakami's a good defensive player, hasn't always shown it, but he can make plays like that. O'Neal Cruz into left, his second hit of the game, and you can start to hear it. The Boo Birds are flying out. With this being an elimination game, the pitching tonight has been unacceptable, and the fans know it. Cruz heads for second, and he's out of there! Blake Sabol throws him out. Part-time ball player, full-time sniper. Great defensive play by Sabol. And now there's 2 away, nobody on. The outlook of this inning looks a lot better all of a sudden as Murphy flies it into center. Tommy Rogers is under it. A scoreless frame for Aaron Savale. He's let up a couple base runners, but overall he's been far better than Sandy Alcantara. Through an inning and 2/3, Savale's let up a pair of hits, but no further damage done. Bottom 3, J.P. Crawford homered in his first at-bat today, and he calls for an encore! Good night, baseball! A splash shot into the Cove, and it's 4-3. What a night for J.P. Crawford, continuing his unbelievable postseason run. That is now 5 homers in just over 6 games. He has been on another level for this team here in the month of October. Crawford's power in the regular season is worse than it's been in recent seasons, but clearly he was saving it here for the postseason with 2 home runs already here in Game 4 of the NLCS, and we're just in the 3rd inning as that one goes into the Cove for splash shot number 107 in this ballpark. Blake Sabol hit the 106th splash shot not too long ago this past September as he draws a walk and finds himself on base. So that'll bring up Stone Garrett. Garrett has great plate discipline, but in games 2 and 3, there were 3 instances where he swung at really bad pitches on 3-ball counts. This ball is hit really high, but it dies out in center and is caught by Michael Harris for the second out of the inning. That'll bring up Munetaka Murakami, who also has really good plate discipline and also hasn't really shown it here in the postseason. 2-2 pitch, close call, good take, and now the count is full. So Blake Sabol will go here with it being a full count and 2 outs. It's been a rough postseason for Murakami. The lowest OPS on the roster, but he draws a walk. A second one from King here in this inning. And so now there's 2 runners aboard and 2 outs. A huge at-bat for Johnny Hackman, who has hit the ball fairly well in the postseason, average right around 300, and he's drawn a lot of walks. The on-base percentage close to 500. Tough pitch to lay off there on the 1-1, but he does. It had a lot of movement. A good take there by Hackman, and I continue to be very impressed by his plate skills for being just a rookie. 2-1 now with 2 on, and that pitch is outside. These batters are really working the count, and Michael King is starting to lose control of this game. He's in danger of walking the bases loaded. 3-1 for Johnny Hackman, and there you go, ball 4. So the Giants have loaded him up with a trio of walks. Maybe this is a ploy by Michael King to get the bases loaded because he knows the Giants are going to screw it up. Now, Brendan Donovan has a 99 clutch rating, but he really has never shown it to us. Going to be a tough play for O'Neal Cruz. Throw to first is in time, and the Giants leave him loaded. Who's surprised? They do get a run with the homer by Crawford, his second of the night. That cuts the lead to 1. But again, it feels like we could have done so much more with the bases loaded. Brendan Donovan, 99 clutch rating. It feels like he's the least clutch player on the team. As that brings us into the 4th, Jared Kelenic swings at the high heat. A punch-out for Aaron Savale. And even though he entered this game late, out of the bullpen, sort of out of the blue, we're going to hopefully keep him in for a while. Again, our season is now in the hands of his right arm as he retires to the side with a weak dribbler from Jose Azocar. 2 2/3 scoreless for Savale. And again, I would love to get 2 or 3 more innings out of him if all continues to go well. That'll bring us to the bottom of the 4th. So far, the offense has been productive. 3 runs, 5 hits. Yes, we let the bases loaded in the last inning, but for the most part, we're hitting the ball pretty well. Tommy Rogers, that was not your pitch, and he recognized it, but he was already in the motion of swinging, and it was a little too late. 2-2 now for Jun-Hoo Lee. He's had a few big hits in this series, but hasn't been consistent. We need him to step up, and hey, that works. Def taxes and opposite field hits for Jun-Hoo Lee. Only 69, nice, off the bat. It was a blooper, but we'll take those. And Michael King will be taken out of this game here in the bottom of the 4th inning. The National League Cy Young certainly did not look the part. Maybe they shouldn't have had him on the shelf for 3 weeks. Now, to be fair, Aaron Savale also has not pitched in 3 weeks, and he's been terrific so far. But still, point remains. Not using your Cy Young pitcher is kind of weird. A.J. Smith-Shawver will come out of the bullpen to replace him. He's thrown 2 scoreless innings. He's looked pretty good so far. Hasn't allowed a hit to a righty. And we'll see if he can keep it going. With Jun-Hoo Lee aboard, that'll bring up Ian Happ, who similarly to Lee has hit some big swings in this series, but has not been the most consistent. And he goes down on the sweeping curve. A lot of movement on that breaking ball for the second out of the inning. That'll bring up J.P. Crawford. What a night for him so far. How about a third? Well, he keeps it in the park, but it is a hit. That pitch well out of the strike zone, and it's still a single for J.P. Crawford. He is now 3 for 3 today, and again, we're just in the 4th inning. Blake Sabol now with 2 away. Mr. Clutch flies it into left. He as well not showing his 99 clutch rating there, but Sabol's been so good with runners on base throughout this season and postseason that I'm not going to give him as much of a hard time than I will with Donovan, but still, that's 5 runners left on base over the last 2 innings. That's the reason why we lost Game 3, and that's currently the reason why we're losing Game 4. Michael Harris into left. Hackman will not make the play. It bounces over the fence for a ground rule double. Hackman did his best to get to it, but it just barely drops. Harris now on third for Acuna, who strikes out on the fastball. That is a huge punch-out for Savale, his 4th of the night, because now the Braves need a base hit to drive in the runner. It's Austin Riley, who's been money over the last couple of games, but he grounds out over to short. And Aaron Savale gets out of another inning. That's 3 2/3 scoreless for Savale, and he's only let up 3 hits and no walks. That'll send us to the bottom half of the frame. The offense, getting base runners consistently, but not driving them in. With 2 away, it's Johnny Hackman, the 2-2. This one is hit high. That ball might have went over the moon. Into center, it is caught by Harris. A 1-2-3 inning for A.J. Smith-Shawver. And that'll bring us into the 6th. Aaron Savale is going to continue to pitch. I think he's got at least another inning, maybe more out of him. He is not showing signs of slowing down. If anything, he's looking more and more comfortable as this game has gone along. It really has been a sight to see with him, as he will start things off with the dynamic O'Neal Cruz. 2 for 2 today. He's had a good game so far, and he's ahead 3-1. Ooh, that's a tough one. Looks like it was just barely in the zone. It is called for a strike. Full count now for O'Neal Cruz, and he goes down looking on the fastball. Unlike the last pitch, that was never a question. Swing the bat, buddy. And that goes for out number 1. Another punch out for Savale, his 5th. 2 away now. Jared Kelenic behind 1-2. Ooh, another close call. That was clearly in the zone. Would have ended the inning. Savale does not get the call. 2-2 now. This one is flown into center. So it looks like the bad call by Angel Hernandez won't matter, as Rogers makes the play, and that wraps up the top of the 6th. Another scoreless frame from Aaron Savale. It's been night and day ever since the pitching change. They were mashing off of Sandy Alcantara, and they are getting nothing off of Aaron Savale. Brendan Donovan leads off the 6th with a walk, so an early base runner here for the Giants. Haven't scored since the 3rd. Now it's Tommy with a drive into left. Goodbye! Tommy Rogers tosses the bat, and the Giants have their first lead of the night as it's 5-4. Tommy Rogers with home runs in back-to-back games, and as we talked about in Game 3, he really excels hitting breaking balls, especially down the middle. That's how he homered in the last game, and that's how he does it here. A no-doubter. 109 off the bat. I imagine the launch angle was quite high as well. The dugout fired up. Oracle Park is fired up. Tommy Rogers may have just rejuvenated the Giants' season. What a swing by the 19-year-old outfielder who's had his ups and downs this season in the regular season and in the postseason. But when we've called on him for big swings over the last couple of games, he has delivered. Jun-Hoo Lee now looks to keep the rally going. Into right center field. That ball will one hop off the wall. Rounding second, heads to third, and that's a triple. With nobody out, San Francisco gets a runner 90 feet away from home. The offense is alive and well. These guys look energized. That'll bring up Ian Happ with a full count, and this one is flown into center. It's got plenty of carry, and that should be more than enough room to score Lee on the sacrifice. He will go. The throw from Cruz is actually closer than I expected, but it's not in time. A successful sacrifice fly for Ian Happ, and it's now 6-4 for the Giants, and the Braves make a pitching change. A.J. Smith-Shawver is yanked after letting up the 3 runs, and he'll be replaced by Blake Burkhalter. That'll bring up J.P. Crawford. What a night for him. 3 for 3. How about 4? Singles into right. And J.P. Crawford continues his unbelievable performance. That's 4 hits in Game 4 for J.P. And so now there's a runner on first, 2 away for Stone Garrett. Full count, draws a walk. Hey, he didn't swing at this one. Progress. Garrett was great in the NLDS against the Reds. His OPS is still above 1,000 for the playoffs, but really has not produced in this series against the Braves. Good to see him getting on base, as that'll bring up Murakami. That ball also goes absurdly high and deep at the track, at the wall. It's caught. So the Giants leave 2 more runners on. Again, who's surprised? But there's certainly no room to complain with that inning. Driving in 3 with a 2-run shot by Tommy Rogers and a sacrifice fly for Ian Happ. And now San Francisco, for the first time really in this series, feels like they're in control of the game, up by 2. Aaron Savale will remain in the game. He's thrown over 5 innings, and he is dealing as he strikes out Jose Azocar on the slider. Now with his 3rd trip through the order, Michael Harris grounds it to second. Crawford makes the play. That'll wrap up the top of the 7th. And that will do it for Aaron Savale's night out of the bullpen. 5 1/3 innings, 3 hits, no walks, no runs. He may have just saved our season. 6-4 going into the bottom half of the frame. Another pitching change for the Braves. They'll roll with Sean Armstrong. Atlanta's using a lot of their relievers tonight. That shows that they feel like they can still win this game and are hoping to beat the back end of the San Francisco bullpen. Johnny Hackman singles into right. I like the idea of having Hackman hit early in the inning, and I think next year I wouldn't be surprised to see him up in the order. I feel like he's a guy who can really set the tone offensively. Good contact, good plate skills. He screams first or second hitter in the lineup. Unfortunately, we're not going to score him. Jun-Hoo Lee goes down looking on the fastball. And it remains 6-4 as we go into the 8th, and we need our bullpen to close this thing down. Normally, Jojo Romero would come in here, but with him allowing the big home run in Game 2, we're actually going to go with John Schreiber. 2, 3, 4 hitters due up. That'll start with Christian Arroyo. He's 1 for 3 tonight. And he goes down on the slider. A good start for Schreiber. We have used him a lot in the postseason, and he has been really, really good. Full count for Acuna. This one is sent into left. And it will just barely curve fair onto the concourse. Solo home run for Ronald Acuna. His 4th of the postseason. And Atlanta's right back in it. It's a 1-run deficit, 6-5. Riley now flies it into left. At the track, at the wall. And it's caught. The Braves feet away from tying this game. And we're actually going to make a pitching change. We're going to bring in Jojo Romero now. The thought process was that Schreiber was always going to face off against 3 batters. And if he's unable to end the inning, we're going to bring in Romero so he can get the lefty-on-lefty matchup with O'Neal Cruz. Count is 2-1 for Cruz. He's 2 for 3 tonight. As he fouls that one off, we'll show the entirety of the at-bat here because I feel like it's a big one. 2 outs, top of the 8th, 1-run game. If O'Neal Cruz gets a base hit here, that could really spark a rally for Atlanta. So Romero's got to keep him off base. The 2-2 now. Fouls off the sinker. Good job to protect and keep the at-bat alive. We're keeping things inside the zone here. Wouldn't be surprised to see Romero look outside soon. But he gets him on the fastball instead. So Jojo Romero will only see 1 batter tonight, and he does his job, striking out Cruz. The Braves do get 1 in this inning, though, with the home run by Acuna, and it's only a 1-run deficit. This game far from over. 6-5 going into the bottom of the 8th. We certainly trust Camilo Doval to close this game out in the 9th, but it'd be nice to get some insurance, and it'll be matched up against Pierce Johnson. He has faced off against 1 batter in the postseason so far, struck him out. Now he'll see 3, and that includes J.P. Crawford. Will he get a 5th base hit? Unfortunately, no. Goes down looking on the slurve. Still a remarkable night, though, for J.P. Crawford, assuming that is his last at bat of the day. Blake Sabol now. 1-1. Ooh, that was a close one. I thought it was a ball. Now it's 2-2. Got him looking. So the outside part of the strike zone there, umpire called a close pitch on 2 separate occasions a strike. Sabol probably should have swung there with the 2-2 count in case the umpire were to be consistent, which he was. And that'll bring us into the 9th now. It's closing time. Time to slam the door. Camilo Doval looking for the save. He's pitched in 4 games this postseason. Only 1 save opportunity. Hasn't allowed a run yet, and we need that to continue. Sean Murphy, base hit into center. So a good start to the inning for the Braves as they lead things off with a single. Tying run is on. Winning run will be at the plate. They're not going to bring in a pinch runner, though, for Murphy, interestingly enough. Murphy only has 32 speed. I feel like they might regret that. Kelenic goes down on the inside cutter. Doval fools him, and now there's 1 away. That'll bring up Tyler Stevenson. This one on the ground. This could do it. Crawford, Donovan, Garrett. Ball game. Giants win it. 6-5, and we keep our season alive. A really close, competitive matchup. The big story of this game certainly is the San Francisco pitching. We decided to pick Sandy Alcantara as the starter, and he stunk. An inning and a third. Lets up 4 runs, 5 hits, 4 extra base hits. We make the decision to yank him, and the pitching was terrific the rest of the way. In the final 7 2/3 innings, we only let up 5 more hits and just 1 run. Aaron Savale was outstanding tonight out of the bullpen in his first outing of the entire postseason. 5 2/3 scoreless innings. He gets the win. The offense was highly productive as well. 6 runs, 11 hits. I think we had 5 or 6 walks as well. So the offense certainly doing enough to win this game, showing up when we needed it the most. Now I will say it certainly was not a perfect game at the plate. We left a lot of base runners on, again, but we were really good early in the game with the 2 home runs by J.P. Crawford, and then the rally in the 6th with the 3 runs, getting 2 off of the homer by Tommy Rogers, and then the sac fly from Ian Happ. And that 6th inning ultimately proved to be the difference. Shout out the rest of the bullpen as well, closing things out with Schreiber. He did allow the 1 home run, and then Romero and Doval. So with that, we take game 4, but we still got a lot of work to do, trailing in the series 3-1. It's good to see us finally with a win, but we still got a lot to do, and that starts in the next episode with game 5, presumably Logan Webb on the mound. We could do the funniest thing possible and throw Sandy out there. He'll certainly have the energy to do it, but after what we saw in game 4, I don't think that'll be in play. In the ALCS, the Blue Jays lead 2-1. Toronto barely snuck in as a 6th seed, and now they're 2 games away from going to the World Series. Could it be David versus Goliath, with the Blue Jays facing off against either one of these 2 powerhouses? Atlanta certainly with the edge, but with us winning game 4, maybe we can take some momentum. Maybe we can win game 5 and make it interesting going back to Atlanta. Hope everybody enjoyed the episode. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Peace out.